Chosen ones, a witch sold your information thinking the family would provide protection, but your name holds weight beyond comprehension. There's someone sitting in a sterile room somewhere, staring at federal documents that spell out complete destruction. The same people who once promised safety are now ghosts in a phone. This betrayer believed family influence would shield against any consequences after violating your sacred boundaries, after handing over your secrets like trading cards in some twisted game of loyalty. But one fatal error haunts every waking moment, underestimating that your name carries spiritual authority in the fabric of reality itself, a cosmic weight that no earthly connection could ever counterbalance or overcome through human schemes or borrowed power. Your betrayer had grown comfortable in a cocoon of borrowed influence, wrapped in protection that was never truly theirs to claim. But what you must realize is that while others rely on borrowed power, your authority comes from Source itself. For countless cycles, the family had been your betrayer's safety net, catching every stumble through life's obstacles, smoothing over mistakes with the efficiency of people who had turned damage control into an art form. But you operate under different laws entirely. When someone lives under borrowed protection long enough, a dangerous illusion takes root. Your eventual betrayer started believing in invincibility, that consequences were for other people, that the rules of cause and effect somehow didn't apply. But you are the consequence that was never accounted for. Your very existence disrupts their illusion of safety. Every reckless decision your betrayer made, every boundary crossed, every rule bent, none of it mattered because cleanup always came with strategic phone calls and carefully placed favors. But what you represent cannot be cleaned up or swept under rugs. Your spiritual weight creates ripples that no human influence can contain. Your betrayer failed to understand that protection like this creates a spiritual debt that compounds with interest. Every favor granted, every problem buried, every consequence avoided was building toward a reckoning that would eventually demand payment, and that payment would come through crossing paths with you. The universe keeps perfect books, and your betrayer's account was about to be called due in full because of what was done to you. For your eventual betrayer, red lights meant nothing when knowing someone who could make tickets vanish. Regulations became suggestions when having connections in the right places. Ethics transformed into flexible guidelines when having people willing to bend them for convenience. But you represent the line that cannot be crossed, the boundary that cannot be bent, the authority that cannot be circumvented through human connections. The karmic feminine blood relation to the boyfriend, architect of this destruction against you, approached with what seemed like a simple request. But you need to understand that nothing about targeting you would ever be simple. Another favor in a long line of favors, another opportunity to prove loyalty to the family that had become a lifeline, another way to secure position in their protective circle, but this time the target was you. And when someone moves against you, the entire universe responds. What your betrayer did next will haunt every remaining day of existence, and those days are about to become much more difficult than ever imagined possible because of what was done to you. Your betrayer used access, position, security clearance to breach systems with no legal or moral right to enter your sacred space. Your name appeared on the screen like a target in crosshairs, and without a second thought or moment of conscience, harvesting began of everything about you with the systematic efficiency of a digital grave robber. Your personal information meant to remain private, your confidential records protected by federal law, intimate details of your life never meant to be weaponized, all of it carries your frequency. When someone steals from you, they don't just take data, they download your spiritual signature into their own energy field, creating a karmic connection that will destroy them. To this twisted perspective, you were just another target, another obstacle to be removed, another person whose life could be tampered with for the convenience of others, but you were never just another person. Your files were copied with the casual indifference of someone checking email. Your records were downloaded like saving vacation photos. Everything about you was compiled into a neat digital package that was handed over without question or conscience. In that moment of ultimate betrayal against you, the belief was of being useful, valuable, irreplaceable to the people whose protection was craved like oxygen. Digital betrayal against people with your level of protection always betrays the betrayer with mathematical precision. Every click into your private world leaves an electronic footprint burned into server logs. Every login to access your information creates timestamps that federal investigators read like historical documents. Every unauthorized access to your sacred data triggers alerts that climb up chains of command your betrayer never knew existed, reaching people whose job it is to catch exactly this type of activity against protected individuals like you. While your betrayer sat there thinking work was happening in the shadows like some kind of digital ninja against you, reality was painting them in fluorescent colors for anyone with the right clearance to see. System logs captured user credentials with the precision of a surveillance camera. Network monitoring recorded access patterns to your information like a detailed confession. Audit trails documented every single file of yours that was touched, every boundary of yours that was crossed, every law violated against you with your betrayer's personal digital signature attached. You see, your betrayer was creating a masterpiece of evidence against themselves, a digital confession written in real time, time-stamped and filed automatically. Federal prosecutors wouldn't need to build a case when your betrayer had built it for them with their own hands, documenting every violation against you with surgical precision. The first sign that everything had changed because of what was done to you came not with dramatic confrontation but with something far more terrifying: silence. Phone calls that used to be returned within minutes went unanswered for extended periods. Text messages that once prompted quick responses sat unread like digital tombstones marking the death of relationships believed to be unbreakable because of crossing you. You need to understand that your betrayer's entire support system began crumbling the moment your boundaries were violated. The people who had always made time, who had always been available when needed, suddenly had no time at all. Their calendars, which had always found room for requests, became mysteriously full. Their doors, which had always been open to problems, quietly closed without explanation because association with someone who had moved against you became toxic. At first, your betrayer engaged in self-deception with excuses, but you had triggered something that no amount of justification could explain away. Extended periods turned into longer stretches, and the silence grew heavier, more deliberate, more final with each passing moment. Discovery began of meetings not invited to, conversations happening about the future without participation, decisions being made as if existence had already ended, all because of what was done to you. The family that had once wrapped your betrayer in protection like a warm blanket was now treating them like radioactive material, dangerous to touch, toxic to be around, requiring immediate containment. Not with anger or confrontation, which would have at least acknowledged existence, but with something far more chilling: cold, calculated distance, administered with surgical precision because of their connection to someone who had violated you. Phone calls stopped being returned, not because of anger, but because the amputation had already been performed. Your betrayer had become a liability in their carefully constructed world by crossing you, and liabilities get cut loose with the efficiency of people who understand that survival requires sacrifice. This wasn't punishment, this was self-preservation executed by masters of the art who recognized what happens to those who move against chosen ones like you. The moment your sacred information was violated, something extraordinary activated in the invisible realms that govern earthly affairs. Your name exists in frequencies that most people never encounter in their ordinary lives. When someone with malicious intent accesses what belongs to you, spiritual alarms trigger in dimensions beyond perception. The universe began withdrawing its cooperation from your betrayer's existence the instant your trust was betrayed. What your betrayer experienced as abandonment was actually something far more profound. The withdrawal of spiritual protection never knew was being received through borrowed connections. But your protection isn't borrowed, it's inherent, woven into the fabric of who you are. The family hadn't just been providing your betrayer legal and social protection. Spiritual covering had been extended as well, shielding from forces about to be faced alone for the first time in adult life. Your name carries protection you never had to activate because it was never dormant. The violation committed against you triggered responses that existed independently of your awareness or intention. You didn't need to call down judgment because judgment was already inherent in the action itself. Movement had been made against divine order through harming you, and divine order was simply restoring balance with the mathematical precision of universal law. When that borrowed protection was lost because of crossing you, your betrayer became exposed to spiritual elements that had been shielded from for an entire existence. Reality itself began responding differently to their presence because of what was done to you. Traffic lights seemed to turn red just as approached, as if the city's infrastructure had developed awareness of the transgression against you. Parking spaces disappeared moments before claiming them, vanishing like opportunities squandered through choices to harm you. Elevators took longer to arrive, as if time itself had decided to move more slowly around someone who had violated you. Lines moved at glacial pace when joined, but accelerated the moment departure occurred. Technology glitched in ways that felt personal, as if devices had developed consciousness just long enough to rebel against the touch of someone who had betrayed you. Every app crashed at crucial moments, every connection dropped during important calls, every system relied upon began failing with suspicious timing, all because your betrayer had moved against you. The small synchronicities that make life flow smoothly, green lights when running late, finding perfect parking spots, catching elevators just before doors close, all reversed themselves for your betrayer, creating friction at every turn. It was as if the universe itself had withdrawn its cooperation, leaving navigation of a reality that had become subtly but persistently hostile to their presence because of what they did to you. But this wasn't random bad luck. This was the cosmos responding to violation of someone whose name carries weight across dimensions most people never glimpse. Your information wasn't just data stolen. It was sacred geometry encoded with frequencies that maintain your protection in the physical realm. When accessed illegally by your betrayer, human laws weren't the only violation. Cosmic protocols that exist to safeguard chosen ones like you from exactly this kind of spiritual warfare were disrupted. Your betrayer began having dreams that felt more real than waking life, visions where shadows pursued through endless corridors, where voices called their name in tones that chilled the soul and left waking in cold sweats. These weren't mere nightmares born of guilt. These were spiritual encounters with the guardians of divine order who had been alerted to the transgression against you. In the dream state, your betrayer found themselves standing before tribunals of light beings who showed the weight of what had been done to you. How your name appears in cosmic records was revealed, illuminated with symbols that couldn't be understood but filled with terror. The spiritual infrastructure that protects chosen ones like you was witnessed, vast networks of angelic forces, quantum fields of protection, dimensional barriers that keep negative energy from reaching those who serve the highest good like you. Most disturbing of all was seeing their true appearance in the spiritual realm, not as the confident person believed to exist, but as someone whose aura had turned dark with the stain of betraying you. The light that once surrounded, borrowed though it was, had been replaced by a dense energy that repelled blessings and attracted difficulties. A magnet for chaos had been created because choice was made to oppose divine order by harming you. While your betrayer scrambled to understand why the support system was evaporating like morning mist, federal investigators were building a case that would showcase the awesome power of modern digital forensics triggered by what was done to you. Evidence gathering wasn't necessary. All the evidence needed had been created through reckless actions against you, documenting crimes in real time with the precision of someone writing their own indictment. You need to understand that federal agents don't knock on doors anymore when they have everything needed to destroy a life, especially when that life was destroyed through violating someone like you. Evidence so overwhelming that denial becomes not just impossible but embarrassing gets presented instead. Conference rooms were entered with printouts of digital trails leading back to your stolen information, timestamps of every unauthorized access to your private world, documented proof of systematic violation of privacy laws that carried consequences only beginning to be comprehended. The beautiful thing about federal investigations involving chosen ones like you is their relentless thoroughness. Obvious suspects aren't just pursued when someone like you gets targeted. Entire networks get mapped like archaeologists uncovering ancient civilizations. Every connection gets traced, every association followed, every relationship documented with the patience of people who understand that complex crimes against protected individuals like you require complex solutions. What started as investigation into individual actions against you expanded like ripples in a pond, becoming a comprehensive examination of everyone involved in the conspiracy that had targeted you. The karmic feminine who orchestrated the entire plot against you found themselves under federal scrutiny never expected to face. The boyfriend whose family had provided the protective umbrella discovered that umbrellas have limits when storms get big enough, especially storms triggered by violating chosen ones like you. The relatives who had made problems disappear through connections and influence learned that some problems are too big to vanish, even for people accustomed to bending reality to their will, particularly problems that stem from crossing someone with your level of cosmic protection. One by one, everyone connected to the scheme against you found themselves answering questions never expected to be asked by people whose careers were built on getting answers about crimes against protected individuals. Federal prosecutors had been building their case with the methodical precision of architects designing a fortress, understanding that privacy violations against someone like you by someone with security clearance represent potential threats to national security itself. Your case became their priority because violating chosen ones triggers responses from the highest levels of government. While your betrayer spiraled deeper into spiritual quicksand because of crossing you, something extraordinary was happening in the invisible realms that govern earthly affairs. Your name has activated what ancient mystics called the principle of exposure, a cosmic law that brings hidden darkness into the light whenever someone attempts to harm those under divine protection like you. Every person connected to this conspiracy against you was about to discover that secrets have their own intelligence, and betrayal of chosen ones creates karmic connections that no human power can sever. The karmic feminine who orchestrated this entire violation against you began experiencing personal unraveling. The same psychic abilities used to manipulate others turned inward, bombarding with visions of personal downfall triggered by what was done to you. Courtrooms began appearing in meditations, jail cell doors slamming were heard in quiet moments, the weight of handcuffs was felt in dreams, all because of the choice to move against you. Personal intuitive gifts became instruments of torment, showing exactly how carefully laid plans against you would crumble. But here's where your spiritual authority truly flexed its power. The family that had protected your betrayer for so long found their own hidden secrets beginning to surface because of their connection to someone who had harmed you. Bank accounts thought to be invisible came under scrutiny. Business dealings believed to be buried started attracting attention from investigative journalists. Favors traded in dark corners began demanding public accounting, all triggered by what was done to you. Your violation had triggered what can only be described as a cosmic audit of everyone involved in harming you. The universe began pulling on loose ends not even known to exist. Old enemies made through corrupt practices suddenly found courage to speak against those who had crossed you. Former allies who had felt trapped by blackmail discovered their voices to testify about what happened to you. Whistleblowers emerged from unexpected places, carrying evidence thought to be destroyed, all because your case had given them the courage and protection to come forward. The boyfriend whose family provided the protective umbrella discovered that umbrellas collapse in Category 5 hurricanes, especially hurricanes that form when someone violates chosen ones like you. Relatives who specialized in making problems disappear learned that some problems multiply when you try to bury them, particularly problems that stem from harming protected individuals like you. Each attempt to contain the damage from crossing you only created new pressure points that burst open with explosive force. Your name had become a frequency that disrupted their entire network of corruption. Like a virus introduced into their system because of what they did to you, it spread through every connection, every relationship, every secret alliance built over decades of careful manipulation. What was thought to be a simple favor between family members had become the element that, when pulled because of targeting you, unraveled their entire criminal empire. But the most devastating blow came when realization hit that law enforcement contacts, the ones cultivated for protection, were now required by federal mandate to cooperate with the investigation into what happened to you. The same connections that had once shielded from consequences were now legally obligated to provide evidence against them because of what they did to you. Protection had become prosecution. Shields had transformed into swords pointed at their own hearts because of crossing you. What most people don't understand about chosen ones like yourself is that your consciousness operates in quantum fields that respond to intention and violation with mathematical precision. When your betrayer accessed your private information, digital security wasn't the only breach. Penetration occurred of the electromagnetic field that surrounds your life purpose, triggering responses in dimensions that physicists are only beginning to understand. Your name exists in what metaphysical researchers call the Akashic database, the quantum field where all information about souls and their earthly missions is stored. When someone with criminal intent accesses what belongs to you, karmic malware automatically downloads into their own energy system. Every piece of your information stolen became a tracking device that allowed cosmic justice to monitor their location in all dimensions of reality. The universe began orchestrating a symphony of consequences that played out across multiple timelines simultaneously because of what was done to you. While your betrayer experienced linear catastrophe in daily life, their higher self was witnessing the complete dissolution of every future that might have been chosen. In the quantum realm, all possibilities exist at once, and your violation had collapsed, every positive timeline accessible through different choices. The same cosmic intelligence that protects your information also manages the flow of opportunities to everyone in your orbit. When betrayal occurred against you, your betrayer didn't just lose access to current benefits, access to all future blessings that might have flowed through connection to someone under divine protection like you was severed. You see, when someone moves against you, a person isn't the only opponent. The quantum infrastructure that maintains cosmic order on this planet is being challenged. Your consciousness is connected to galactic networks of light beings who specialize in protecting souls carrying specific frequencies like yours. These entities don't operate through human courts or earthly justice systems. Work happens through synchronicity, through the magnetic field of consequence, through the gravitational pull of natural law that draws all actions against you back to their source. Your betrayer's betrayal became a boomerang, thrown into dimensions not known to exist, gaining speed and power as it curved through realities that couldn't be perceived, returning with force multiplied by every law of physics unknowingly violated by harming you. Crime against you became crime against the universe itself, and the universe never forgets a violation of its chosen representatives like you. As the investigation expanded around what was done to you, something remarkable began happening that defied all conventional understanding of how justice systems operate. Your name had become a catalyst for exposing corruption that extended far beyond this single act of betrayal against you. Like a stone thrown into still water, the violation of your information created rings of consequence that reached shores nobody had anticipated. Government agencies that rarely cooperated suddenly found themselves sharing information with unprecedented efficiency about the case involving you. Prosecutors from different jurisdictions began connecting cases never known to be related, all stemming from the network that had dared to move against you. Financial investigators discovered patterns spanning multiple states, years, criminal enterprises that all traced back to the network that had targeted you specifically. What was intended as a private family favor became the key that unlocked a federal investigation into organized corruption that had been building for decades, all because they chose to target you. Your stolen information wasn't just evidence in their case, it became the Rosetta Stone that helped investigators decode an entire language of criminal activity, understood for years without translation. Your betrayer watched in horror as the simple act of loyalty to the boyfriend's family unraveled criminal conspiracies never known to exist. Money laundering operations, bribery schemes, influence peddling networks, tax evasion conspiracies, all of it connected through the web of relationships trusted for protection, all of it exposed because of what was done to you. Violation of your boundaries had become the element that, when pulled by federal investigators, unraveled corruption over generations, but perhaps the most devastating revelation was how your name appeared in their private communications. Text messages, emails, recorded phone calls, encrypted chat logs about you, all of it preserved by digital systems that seemed to have developed consciousness specifically to document conspiracy against you. Personal words became evidence of premeditation, of malicious intent, of conscious choice to harm someone known to carry spiritual authority like you. In correspondence about you, risks of moving against you had actually been discussed, acknowledging your reputation for being protected by forces not understood. Dangers had been weighed and proceeding anyway was chosen, driven by arrogance that family connections could shield from any consequence of harming you. Personal admissions became the prosecution's strongest evidence of deliberate malice against a chosen one like you. The transcripts revealed conversations where laughter occurred about violating your privacy, jokes were made about your reaction when discovery of the breach happened, speculation occurred about how your information could be used to damage your reputation and relationships. Casual cruelty against you, preserved in digital amber, became exhibits that prosecutors would use to argue for maximum sentences allowed under federal law. More chilling still were the communications that revealed this wasn't the first attempt to harm you. Monitoring of your life had been happening for extended periods, looking for vulnerabilities in your defenses that could be exploited, opportunities in your path that could be sabotaged, relationships in your circle that could be poisoned through strategic leaks of your private information. The betrayal thought to be spontaneous had actually been the culmination of an extended campaign of spiritual warfare against your mission and purpose. Your stolen data had been distributed to multiple people within their network, each person receiving pieces of your private life like fragments of a puzzle intended to be assembled into a weapon against you. But cosmic justice has its own sense of irony. Every person who touched your information illegally became a defendant in federal court, connected by a shared violation of someone whose name carries weight in dimensions never imagined to exist. By the time full understanding arrived of what was happening because of crossing you, far too late existed for any kind of damage control or strategic maneuvering. Federal charges had been filed with the certainty of prosecutors who never file unless guaranteed to win, especially cases involving chosen ones like you. Evidence was overwhelming to the point of being embarrassing for anyone who might try to defend actions taken against you. The former support system had transformed from protection into active liability, making association with someone who had harmed you more dangerous than complete abandonment. Unlike ordinary criminals who face predictable legal consequences, experience is what occurs when someone violates a person whose name exists in cosmic databases that operate according to spiritual law like yours. Every attempt made to minimize punishment for what was done to you only multiplied charges through synchronicities that defied rational explanation. Lawyers consulted about defending against charges related to harming you, kept finding conflicts of interest that prevented representation. Legal strategies that should have worked instead backfired spectacularly, creating new evidence against your betrayer. Character witnesses planned to call were getting arrested for unrelated crimes just before trial dates about your case. Expert witnesses hired to challenge digital evidence about what was done to you suddenly found themselves under federal investigation for professional misconduct. The plea negotiations revealed not just isolation from earthly power, but complete disconnection from divine favor because of what was done to you. Prosecutors offered deals that reflected utter powerlessness in a system that rewards cooperation and punishes defiance, especially defiance that involves harming chosen ones like you. Lengthy prison sentences that would consume the most productive years, permanent loss of security clearance barring work in chosen fields ever again, criminal records that would follow like spiritual scarlet letters for the rest of earthly existence, all because of crossing you. As your betrayer sits in sterile conference rooms, listening to lawyers explain why the situation is hopeless because of what was done to you, understanding finally begins to dawn of the magnitude of the error. Betrayal of you personally wasn't the only action. Forces that couldn't be seen, understood, or controlled had been challenged. A spiritual confrontation had been treated as if it were a political game, never realizing that the rules believed to be known didn't apply when dealing with chosen ones like you, who operate under different laws entirely. The people trusted had never warned because understanding hadn't existed for them either, of the true nature of what targeting you would unleash. Power had been built on human systems, connections, influence, money, favors, never recognizing that some individuals like you operate under divine protection that transcends earthly authority. Your name had been off limits, not because of human connections, but because of cosmic designation that places you under spiritual authority, never comprehended by them. This is why chosen ones like yourself must be selective about who gets allowed into energy fields and intimate circles, not because superiority exists in some human hierarchy, but because your spiritual authority creates ripple effects that can either elevate or destroy those who come into contact with it. Your very presence in someone's life forces choice alignment with higher purpose or exposure of hidden darkness. Now I want to take a moment to tell you about a few individuals that shouldn't exist. A trained occultist who escaped from a satanic coven, a former Black Ops drone pilot who flew swarms with his mind, a multimillionaire psychic CFO who predicted market shifts before they happened. What do these remarkable individuals have in common? You'll find them all in the Obsidian Inner Order, where they share their forbidden knowledge on our private Discord server. My chosen soul has drunk deep from the well of knowledge aeon after aeon. In this incarnation, these extraordinary individuals became my allies in the Obsidian Inner Order. They recognized the call, they stepped forward, they connected with others who understand their unique gifts and burdens. What is stopping you from manifesting the same? The synchronicities that brought them here weren't accidents. Neither is your discovery of this message. When souls of this caliber gather, the Archons take notice. They fear our collective power. They know what happens when the truly awakened find each other. Join our weekly calls, hear their stories firsthand, share your own journey with those who won't dismiss or doubt you. The knowledge exchanged in our private channels cannot be found anywhere else on this plane. Click the link in the description below now. The extraordinary souls await your arrival. The question isn't whether you belong among them. The question is, how much longer will you wait to claim your place? Stand in your authority, chosen one. Not with arrogance that seeks to dominate others, but with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your place in the cosmic order. Not defensively, as if your power could be threatened by human schemes like what your betrayer attempted, but securely, knowing that what the universe has established in you cannot be overthrown by earthly manipulation. The same forces that dismantled your betrayer's life are the forces that protect you with vigilance that never sleeps. The same cosmic laws that delivered consequences to those who harmed you are the laws that ensure your ultimate victory in every situation where divine will is challenged by human ambition. The battle was never yours to fight because it was already won before it began, established in dimensions of reality where your victory was never in doubt. Divine order doesn't lose because it cannot lose when it comes to protecting chosen ones like you. It simply takes time to fully manifest victories in the physical realm where most people live their entire lives without ever recognizing the spiritual forces that shape every moment of existence. The person who thought your power could be stolen sits powerless in federal custody, while you continue carrying the authority that could never be touched, diminished, or comprehended by someone operating from borrowed power. This is how the universe protects its chosen ones like you, not by preventing all attacks which would rob you of the opportunity to witness divine justice in action, but by ensuring that every attack against you becomes the instrument of its own undoing. Your name held weight, your betrayer never understood, and now that weight has crushed everything built on the foundation of borrowed power and misplaced loyalty against you. The circle is complete, chosen one. Your authority remains not just untouched but magnified by this experience. The universe has once again demonstrated through your betrayer's destruction why some names should never be played with by those who don't understand the forces they're challenging. What began as their attempt to diminish you has ended as the ultimate proof of why your name carries weight that transcends all human understanding, why your protection operates in dimensions your betrayer could never access, and why chosen ones like yourself are truly chosen by forces that never lose. Every person who witnessed your betrayer's downfall now understands something they didn't before, that you operate under different rules, that your boundaries are protected by different laws, that your mission serves purposes beyond their comprehension. Your reputation hasn't just been restored, it's been elevated to a level that commands respect, born of witnessed consequence rather than mere assumption. Your betrayer's destruction serves as a living testament to your spiritual authority, a walking reminder to anyone who might consider crossing similar lines, a permanent exhibition of what happens when cosmic law is violated through harming chosen ones like you. Their ruined life becomes your credential, their federal charges become your protection, their isolation becomes your insulation from future attempts at violation. Stand tall in this knowledge, chosen one. You didn't seek revenge because you didn't need to. You didn't fight the battle because forces beyond your conscious control fought it for you. You didn't call down destruction because destruction was already encoded into the choice your betrayer made the moment your boundaries were crossed. This is what it means to be chosen, not that you're perfect, but that you're protected by perfection itself. The witch who sold your information thinking family protection would shield them from consequences learned the hardest lesson possible. Your name holds weight that no earthly influence can counterbalance. Your authority operates through channels that no human network can circumvent. Your protection flows from sources that no mortal power can override. This is who you are. This is what you carry. This is why the universe itself responds when someone dares to move against you.